Welcome to Hot Takes.
where we talk about
debatable topics.
Today's topic
Do you think that some seasons or some sports have too long of a season?
yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with no.
I'm going to go with no as well on that one.
Okay.
See, I think that you kick it off, actually. I want to hear your opinion.
You want me to kick it off because I'm a kicker?
That was a good one.
Hey!
That was a good one. I like that.
All right. So it's greed. It's greed. The reason why the season's longer is because the fucking owners of these sports teams want more money.
Fair.
Now, there is another side of it that I'm okay with. The players get paid more because they're playing longer, right? But
If you look at it, yeah, NFL.
they have to also spend more money themselves to take care of their fucking bodies. How can you expect these guys to play hundreds of fucking games? It's insane. The injury rate's just going to be much higher. It has to be. I don't know if there's actual statistics on that yet. I'll try to look them up while we're talking. But I mean, no, like that's it seems stupid. Like I get it. Like what they had before seemed to be fine. Why do they keep making these fucking seasons so damn long?
I think one of the reasons football, outside of just the game itself, one reason people love football is because it is once a week and every game has that much value and importance on it. And when you get out to base, I don't enjoy baseball that much. I think it's boring. I watch the playoffs, but 162 game season, like I don't really care what's going on for a Wednesday baseball game at 1 o'clock or even during the week.
Yeah.
I'm a basketball fan. I even think basketball, like I don't really watch basketball really until the All-Star break. You know, it's a lot of games. So I think for starters, just the amount of games it devalues the importance of the regular season.
One thing that I think draws out seasons is the way that playoffs are structured inside of some of the programs. For instance, NHL, right? On hockey. You're not playing like football playoffs. You're playing one game and then the winner moves on. For hockey, you're playing 5 potentially
To 7, yeah.
to 7, right? Depending on
Right.
best of. So you're playing potentially 5. So it drags out the season. But what I do think that I like about that is it gives the opportunity to the true best team, because they're not just winning based off of their best day or their best 90 minutes or whatever it is. They're basically giving an opportunity to really find the best performer and the best team. And I enjoy that and I like that. And I think it's a better opportunity for the best team to advance.
Now you're just focusing on the playoffs, though. What about because the season is regular season and playoffs. I can get behind you on the playoffs themselves, but what about the regular season being 80 or 160 games? Like, you're a fan of that?
I'm a fan of it. I do think that there's definitely a challenge there with like it being extended because of financial reasoning. I mean, I do think that there's definitely an element to that. You're definitely correct. But I do think that with playing more games, increasing frequency, you do really come to terms with like a winner's a true winner. And like if they withstand the regular season, they withstand the playoffs and how they're playing best of 5 or 7, whatever, then they're really winning. And that's their true winner. It's not just a team that had a good run for 3 months.
Okay. Johnny, you got anything to say?
Go for it. I'm just listening.
I think it also hinders the lack of recovery time for these players too. Right? So if they keep playing, so you have 2 things here. You got frequency in play, and then because the season's longer, they get less of an off season. And I think what that also does is now you have a shorter amount of time to get better. The off season is where the championships can be made.
Yeah.
That's the building blocks. And if you take the time in the off season to build and perfect your craft, you can come in and dominate. With less of a time frame to do so can also inhibit you from being able to really do this crazy, drawn out plan and recover and all that stuff, and then come back in and just
I mean, they're doing this for
dominate.
When you're looking at the professional level, though, they're doing this for a full-on career.
I don't.
This is what
disagree with you.
This is what they do.
That's true.
So I think it's fair to say, yes, it's all about ratings. It's all about deals. It's all about revenue, for sure. I also do think, though, when you speak in the circumstance of what the actual sport is, there has to be a big enough sample size for the amount of games played. I think hockey is a number. I believe it's 82 games. I believe that's a number that the MLB should work towards to get a little bit closer to a shortened season. But with the MLB, the challenge is you have a pitcher who's only pitching once every week, give or take. So you're only getting to see that person pitch X amount of times a year. A lot of times people go to games is to see that great pitcher pitch.
Right.
You also talk about a game that is more driven through statistics and data, where you can go on a slump for an entire month and win 8, 9, 10 games. And then the next month, you could have a historic month winning 20, 25 games. Bit of an exaggeration, doesn't happen often, but it is. And that could swing the trajectory of that entire season and then land in the playoffs. I think with the NFL, yes, that is the biggest moneymaker, right? Like there's no end if what's about it. But realistically, they extended the game one game.
Right.
It turned in from 17 games with 18 weeks of a season. Still getting their bye week. I agree the recovery standpoint, but dude, they are doing this for their profession. Like that is their profession. They have enough time to recover. And realistically, I will say this. The NFL, and I'm just going to use this. We've had our banter about the Dallas Cowboys. If the season was shortened, the Philadelphia Eagles win the NFC East.
You're right.
Right?
It changes the game.
Changes the game.
Yeah.
And again, it's all about the sample size.
Yeah, that's what it is. The sample size.
And it allows teams to go on runs, and you never know that. But yeah, I think it's also circumstantial on the amount. Like I think basketball. How many was basketball?
82 as well with hockey.
I kind of think to play
Baseball's
off that real quick.
162.
Yeah,
Tee up on
162 is
that?
baseball.
It's
If you
fucking
do
insane.
have a
too
key,
long. It's
if
way
you have
too
a
long.
key player that is hurt in the NFL, 6 weeks out, it's fucking
That's it.
insane amount of
That's
the
it.
season. 6 weeks in hockey or 6 weeks in baseball is like whatever. So I think your team faces much more risk with key players injured in a shorter season, where you're creating more opportunity in the longer seasons. And you can't go to say that like football is the most dangerous sport. I mean, you get people getting fucked up in hockey.
Yeah.
So
I'd agree with that.
you know, the level of the physicality of it all, it does play a role for sure. But you have sports that are I would say equal in physicality, hockey and football,
Hockey's much more.
with completely different levels of.
I would argue the injury factor because you talked about the best team winning the championship in football. If you have someone that does go down for 6 weeks, from a team standpoint,
Yeah.
how deep are you? You know what from 1 to 52, right? Where in baseball, yeah, you lose that guy 6 weeks, it's not as impactful. In football, to be the best team, you are the deepest 1 to 52. You know that means something. And I think what's interesting with the whole playoff structure and just the longer seasons, to me, it just kind of occurred to me, but baseball, correct me if I'm wrong, basketball for sure, they continue to try to change their playoff structure to figure out what is the secret sauce. Where NFL, that's done. No,
No, they
NFL added
changed it a
7.
couple
Oh,
years
you're
ago.
also-
NFL added 7.
Seven, yeah. And
Gotta throw
again,
that one out. Fuck.
that is
But
that
I
is
also would
solely
go-
more to get more viewership and to allow teams to participate in the playoffs, because they know, with that being said, it's going to add an additional viewership to whatever it is in whatever sport.
It's the money driven.
And
Back to
There's
the greed.
but also we're talking about the professional playing the sport. You also got to think about the individuals that are getting paid by that franchise. Does that have anything to do with, like, hey, are you paid hourly as a person in the
guy
back
that cuts the
office?
grass on the
Yeah,
field?
like
Yeah.
how does that work? That's a way to look at it. So if you cut a season in the MLB from 162 games to half of it, like
Right.
what does that do to those individuals? Do they have to find a second job? Like, again, that's something to think about.
The local bar scene, like
I
all
think
that.
I heard Neil
That's
deGrasse
interesting.
Tyson. Is that the science guy?
Yeah.
I heard him say this once. It was about cars. If you want something, you're gonna find a way. So his thing was with cars that everyone wanted cars, but it was chaos back in the day. Like there was no roads, there was no streetlights. So they found a way by creating those things to create order because people liked and wanted the fact to be able to travel. Well, guess what? Sports, fucking people want sports. They do.
Yeah.
So they're going to find a way to make these longer seasons happen, but keep their athletes healthy. So I guess it drives innovation in a way. I don't know why I'm arguing your sides of the fucking coin right now. I'm supposed to be debating against it. But fuck y'all, I'm right.
I think again, it's just circumstantial because I do believe the baseball. Unfortunately, they just got to figure it out.
What is college's season that we played? Was it 10 or 9 games?
For football,
Yeah.
I think it was 10.
Let's
10.
be real though.
How did you feel after
bro.
10?
Bro?
Can you imagine playing an 18-week
No.
season?
Seven-
Now,
no.
granted,
No.
that's all you're doing.
But yes, they
We
are.
had school,
Yeah.
so that's different.
It's hard to compare
But-
sport to sport on schedule. Like, it's not fair
Yeah.
to compare 18 NFL
Listen.
games to 82 basketball
Dude,
games.
Here's
I don't know how people run like that on the fucking pitch and the fucking court.
You know what? People may not like this statement, but I'm gonna say it.
Oh, boy.
Okay. Yes.
on my side, you're saying on your side?
No. Yes.
We're
I was-
mid debate.
Yeah, right?
By the end of the mid-year in college football, I was beat.
Uh-huh.
Right? It is fighting, scratching, and then you make a
Yeah.
run into the playoffs. It's
Claw
nuts,
with your
right?
fingernails.
Yes. Like
fight for that.
no matter what level, football is a brutal sport. No matter what position you play, da 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 da. In the NFL, those guys are the greatest at what they do. They are the biggest at what they do, and they are moving at speeds
that's
that we
true.
Oh, they're
can't even
moving.
we can't even freaking fathom.
No.
They're moving.
Both an offensive line and defensive lineman hitting each other every single play for 60, 70, 80 snaps. Like, that's absurd.
Yeah.
But here's my thing. Hockey. They go every other day just beating each other up.
Yeah.
They do. They do.
They don't get 5, 6 days. There was a back-to-back game for the Rangers when they played friggin' they played the Panthers, and then they went to Tampa the next day. Like, that's why sometimes I don't like how we always use football, because you never really hear hockey having those
Oh,
conversations.
they're fucking moving.
They're
dude.
moving.
Shouldered
And
right to the
those guys
fucking
are getting
face.
Faster,
fucking
way faster,
They're
and less
fucking moving.
padding.
So
And
it's
their helmets, I haven't heard much about concussions in their league. I don't know if
Oh,
they
they've
can-
pulled back. They
Yeah,
pulled
they
back
pulled
on
back
a lot
on
of
that.
them.
They pulled back
Early
on
in the 2000s, in the late 90s, they had enforcers.
Oh, they used to have
Enforcers was
yeah.
where it
and
was
that
at,
shit was
dude.
fucking insane.
That's
Peter
because-
Worrell from the
Oh,
Florida
fist to
Panthers.
God, that
dude.
shit is awesome. Like,
Oh, I mean, it's great, but
I love a good sport that keeps to their tradition. You
Yeah.
allow some grappling, some scrappy fucking punches, and nothing better than a fucking hockey punch.
No.
I love
great.
it. I am there for it.
No, you
And
like
that
MMA
better
too.
stay. That better stay. That's the best shit.
Yeah, listen.
That's
hockey's-
fucking brutal, dude.
Those guys are fucking warriors. NFL players are warriors
It is,
too.
you know, to your point, Johnny. It's kind of strange if you think about it from that context of the most hitting forceful sports usually have time in between. There's rest in between. I mean, look at the fucking MMA and boxing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Months.
most brutal
Months.
fucking sport, and you're talking about months to prepare and gap of recovery and all that stuff. Hockey does not have that.
Yeah, and you know the craziest part? They get paid the least out of every
They do.
professional
They get
athlete.
paid small
Yeah.
contracts. I know a couple people.
I mean, some of them getting bank. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But most
Not
of
a
them,
lot of them.
not
Nothing.
a lot of them.
Nothing
close.
Especially MLB.
I mean,
Oh.
I'd argue though it's probably because the league itself just doesn't
Doesn't
get as
bring
many
in-
fans or whatever,
Oh,
so
yeah.
they're not making as much money. Which
Hockey
then
went
means
through
they
its
can't pay the
trials and
player.
tribulations, but I think the last 5-8 years, popularity has been on the rise for sure.
It's on the rise
I mean,
again.
people
it's,
love going to hockey games.
Yeah.
but
I love going to hockey.
Late
There-
2000s
I will
to
say in the
early
Northeast-
2010s, it was
hockey's different.
struggle.
It's a,
In
it's
the
an up
Northeast,
north.
it was a bigger sport.
of course
for sure.
Down here in the Southeast,
But you know what's crazy? The fact that Florida freaking hockey.
Yeah, I
we
mean,
got some the team like
Tampa
Tampa,
and
Bay
Tampa,
has
yeah.
been fucking
Yeah.
crushing it for years.
Florida's
Even
on the
Panthers
rise,
last
too.
year.
Florida's
Panthers
last year
yeah.
went on a run
Panthers,
like
yeah.
you know, last year they had a really awesome run in the playoffs.
And the
Like,
Toronto Maple Leafs in old Canada,
Old
can
Canada.
barely win a first round playoff
Well,
matchup.
Montreal.
A lot of the problems for like these warmer climate states and stuff, the reason why hockey's not so big is because ice time is so fucking expensive.
Right.
In order to send your kid through hockey,
Oh, it's
you
crazy.
need a fucking loan.
Yeah,
well, that's
That's
the
the
inverse.
whole reason why Dylan didn't play hockey. is
That's the
because
inverse of football.
My brother. Oh yeah, exactly.
'Cause up
Football,
north,
you
it's
just
so
need
cold.
fucking grass somewhere, and you can
That's
start.
Yeah, but I
tossing
didn't
the rock.
get that when it's snowing out, right?
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
inside
exactly.
fucking
So that's,
wrestling at
that's
that
my
point.
point. So it's the inverse up north,
Yeah.
right? Like, so you go from that to a cold sport.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, back to the. To
then
the
you
main
also got the
question.
miracle on ice, baby.
Is it too long? Is a season too long for some of these sports? I think it's all
Yes.
relative.
Yeah, it's all relative.
I think it's all
Ty, as a
relative.
baseball player,
Ooh,
what do you
That's a
think?
trap-setting
Tiebreaker.
question. Yes.
I only played in high school, and I just remember wanting to keep playing baseball. So,
This man's about to extend
Um,
the MLB season.
200 games.
but if I had to play that many games, I had probably wish it was shorter.
Yeah.
So grass is always greener.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, let us know what you think.